all of a sudden I hear this explosion.
2 days before Christmas, a gas explosion and fire at a Pennsylvania nursing home. Rescue operations are underway.
It's getting pretty bad.
Also tonight, difficult travel conditions in the West. Heavy rain right through the holiday. Jeffrey Epstein files released today show private citizen Donald Trump made at least 8 flights on Epstein's plane. The desperate search for survivors after a medical transport plane crashes in waters off Galveston, Texas. Needle not needed. The FDA approves the pill form of a popular weight loss drug. And we'll take you for a ride on this holiday train.
It's really joyful and you have tons of fun out here.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jerika Duncan. We begin with a Christmas week tragedy at a nursing home in the suburbs of Philadelphia. A natural gas explosion and fire this afternoon left the building partially collapsed, trapping people inside. Rescue operations are underway right now at the 174-bed facility. CBS News Philadelphia is on the scene.
Officials tell us tonight at least 2 people are dead after a massive explosion here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, at a nursing home just behind me. And as you can see, dozens of first responders, well, they're still working this chaotic scene.
This building literally just exploded right in front of my eyes.
Dashcam video captures the explosion as it tore through the Silver Lake nursing home.
The gas is still pouring in this building.
40 minutes later, the building burst into flames.
We have 6 patients, 2nd floor. I need some manpower if you got it.
The blast ripped a hole in the building, blowing out windows and trapping residents when it partially collapsed.
We need the basement water turned off urgently. We got people drowning down here.
While some residents were able to walk out on their own, others came out on stretchers. Families and neighbors gathered across the street. Robert Gradilla lives nearby and heard the explosion.
Like I said, one woman, her legs were bleeding and damaged.
Authorities believe the explosion originated in the building next door. A gas smell was reported, and the Pennsylvania Gas Company crews were on site just before the explosion.
I heard that they were smelling gas for like a few days.
The nursing home has 174 beds and came under new ownership earlier this year. Fire officials say they are still treating this as a search and rescue operation. Jerika?
Thank you. If you're in the West and hoping for a white Christmas, well, keep dreaming. A wet Christmas is more likely. Storms are bringing heavy rain to much of the area, and that is making travel difficult in the air and on the ground. We will have the latest from the airports and the forecast for the rest of the holiday week, but we begin with Andres Gutierrez in Los Angeles.
It's become a sobering ritual.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Deputy Bonita from Altadena Sheriff Station.
Residents who survived this year's devastating wildfire in Altadena and still recovering from the shock are now facing severe floods and another evacuation.
We have a lot of healing to do mentally.
Isabel Chan plans to evacuate and hopes the sandbags and K-rails will hold.
Fire, mudslide, and rainstorm, and also we have a lot of personal loss as well.
What residents here are bracing for is the same atmospheric river that has already pounded Northern California.
It's getting pretty bad. It's right outside my door.
Nearly half of California's population, more than 19 million residents, is now under moderate to high risk of flash flooding on Christmas Eve.
The timing couldn't have been any worse for this particular storm.
They're expecting the worst of the rain on Christmas Eve into Christmas Day.
LA County Deputy Sheriff Emily Bonito is the one bearing the news.
Deputy, give us a sense of what those conversations are like. What are kind of the emotions that you get from these residents?
It's a lot of, I don't want to leave because last time that I left, I came back to basically nothing.
All plans canceled, but it is what it is. Yeah, it's very bad. It's pretty stressful.
And these potential mudslides can pack such force that they can push wrought iron and brick out of its way. This is damage from a previous storm. The hope out here this time around is that these K-rails, as well as the sandbags out here, can keep up with the torrential rainfall that can begin within hours and last for days. Jerika?
All right, we will soon find out. Andres, thank you. Senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve is keeping an eye on travel problems at the airport. He is at the Los Angeles International Airport tonight.
The countdown to Christmas had people lining up hours before dawn at LAX.
We always take the first flight out. You get up early, it's like hard to get up, but then you beat the crowds usually.
Since Friday, more than 11.1 million have passed through TSA checkpoints. 2-year-old Wyatt and his parents Whitney and Stephen are heading to Grandma's house for Christmas.
A little extra stress, and you just have to be prepared for the unexpected.
While Wyatt assured us he's on the nice list, all Mom and Dad want for Christmas is good timing to miss the rain in the west and the snow back east, which did cause delays at airports from Philly to Boston.
Security is actually pretty minimal right now. My anxiety is probably at like a 5 or 6, which seems relatively high, but I feel like I'm doing okay.
More long lines at Newark Liberty Airport, but in Portland, Oregon, travel drama was replaced by Christmas llamas.
She said, "Do you want to hug it?" I said, "Sure."
AAA expects more than 122 million Americans will travel for the end-of-the-year holidays, nearly 110 million by car, a trek complicated by the dicey weather on both coasts. Aubrey Vega was driving 12 hours from El Paso to Galveston today.
I feel like everyone was just trying to visit family, so it was going to be eventually packed.
Now, the busiest stretch of this entire travel season expected to be the weekend between Christmas and New Year's, with that Sunday being the peak of the peak at the airports. Jerika.
All right, Chris Van Cleve for us tonight. Thank you. Now for your holiday forecast, we'll turn now to Bill Kelly, chief meteorologist at CBS News Philadelphia.
Yeah, Jerika, we often say the more colors on the map, the worse the weather. I want to start out west. Look at all these colors. We're talking about snow, 5 to 8 feet for the Sierra Nevada. We talked about the rain down here. We're looking at 6 to 11 inches in parts of Southern California. That is a disaster. And gusts of wind in places 65 to 80 miles per hour. Here's that system offshore pumping in that atmospheric river, so travel conditions out west and into the Intermountain region are going to be rough the next couple of days. However, look at your Christmas Day. I want to point out places like Rapid City. 65 degrees. The record is 60. That's a shattered record. The normal is right around 36. We'll go near 80 for the Deep South. Even places like Boston on Christmas Day into the upper 30s. Looking for a white Christmas. Not a ton of places to find it this year. Jerika?
Oh, winter did just start. Thank you so much, Bill. The Justice Department released more of its files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein today. They mentioned President Trump, but there are no accusations of wrongdoing on his part. We did learn that as a private citizen, Trump made more than a few trips on Epstein's plane. Congress had given the DOJ until last Friday night to release all the files. Instead, they're coming out a batch at a time. Here's CBS's Scott McFarland.
Another wave of records from the Jeffrey Epstein file was released by the Department of Justice overnight, including several that mention Donald Trump by name. One is a 2020 Department of Justice email, which says Trump made more flights on Epstein's plane than previously known, at least 8 between 1993 and 1996.
One flight with just Trump, Epstein, and an unidentified 20-year-old.
The files also include a criminal complaint from another unidentified woman alleging Epstein said, "This is a good one, right?" as he introduced her to Trump at Mar-a-Lago when she was 14 years old.
What this whole thing is with Epstein is a way of trying to deflect from the tremendous success that the Republican Party has.
Trump has continued to distance himself from Epstein.
I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago.
Another file documents a woman telling the FBI she had secondhand information about a party with prostitutes at Mar-a-Lago in 2000. The Justice Department today acknowledged Trump's name was in records, but said sensationalist claims about Trump are unfounded and false. One file is an email exchange purportedly from then Prince Andrew asking Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, if she has found him some new inappropriate friends.
It's been a very frustrating experience for all of the survivors that I've spoken to.
Attorney Jennifer Freeman represents Epstein survivors and blasts the Department of Justice for not releasing all files with necessary redactions by last Friday's deadline.
Why do these survivors want everything out there?
Because they want the truth. And it's been very hard to get the truth. And the only way to get the truth is transparency.
The Department of Justice is expected to release hundreds of thousands more pages in the coming weeks. They say they're working to ensure private information about victims stays private. But Democrats here in Washington have threatened legal action if it's not done swiftly, saying the administration is flouting the law and the deadline. Jerika.
All right, Scott McFarland for us tonight. Thank you. Tonight, federal investigators are looking into what caused a deadly plane crash yesterday in Galveston Bay near Texas. A medical plane transporting a child burn victim from Mexico went down with 8 people on board. 5 were killed, including the child. Karen Waugh has more on the rescue mission.
Hey, she's still alive in here. Cell phone video shows the first sign of life.
We just saw a crushed ball of aluminum. I mean, it appeared to me that there would be no way that anybody could be alive inside of that wreckage, because it was almost fully submerged, too.
Now, agreeing with my dad, I did not think there was going to be any survivors.
11-year-old Sky Decker and his father were among the first to arrive at the site of a deadly medical plane crash Monday, more than a mile off the coast of Galveston, Texas.
Hey, somebody get in here and help me pull this stuff out of the way.
Decker said his father immediately dove in to help, pulling one of 2 survivors, a nurse named Miriam Mancia, to safety.
She was in a pocket of air with jet fuel floating on top of the water. She was in a dire situation.
Flight radar shows the plane taking off from Merida, Mexico, crossing the Gulf, then approaching the Galveston airport before disappearing off radar over the bay. The Beach King Air 350I, similar to the one seen here, was transporting a pediatric burn victim to a children's hospital in Galveston. Hey! The 2-year-old patient, his doctor, and 4 members of the Mexican Navy died. Dense fog blanketed Galveston Monday. The Deckers say, despite the low visibility, they did not hesitate to join the rescue effort. What do you think about people who are calling you a hero?
Oh, I just think I was the right guy to be there at the right time, that I'm comfortable with the water, and God put me there at the right time to save that woman.
Now, this is the very boat the Deckers were on as they drove through thick fog and saved that woman. In the meantime, the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the cause of the crash. Jerika?
Incredible story. Karen Waugh, thank you. People who like to take a weight loss drug but don't like needles have a new option. The Food and Drug Administration just approved Wegovy in pill form. It will become available in January. Now, the pill is taken once a day. A month's supply will cost you about $149 without insurance. Dr. John LaPook has more on a man who already tried it.
Dr. Chris Mertens was a high school and college athlete, but during his medical training, he gained 60 pounds.
I was also seeing effects with things like my blood pressure.
After struggling to lose weight, he heard about a clinical trial for Novo Nordisk's weight loss pill. Over about 8 months, he lost 40 pounds.
It was a great option, especially when I know I had tried to do things what people may term the right way, with diet and exercise alone.
In a New England Journal of Medicine study, all trial participants received counseling on diet and exercise. After about 15 months, patients lost on average 13.6% of their body weight on medication, compared to 2.2% on placebo.
Do you have patients who can afford it through insurance or privately, but who say, look, I don't want to give myself a shot?
For patients who are seeking care for weight management, there are patients who are very opposed to injecting themselves.
After the trial ended, Dr. Mertens lost access to the pill and started to regain weight. He's now on an injectable medication.
It's not something that should be considered a dirty shortcut. It's something that, again, with more and more evidence showing it has benefit for not only losing weight, but helping treat so many other conditions that are downhill from obesity.
Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, a woman struggling to support her family. You'll hear her story in her own words. Later, a broken down school bus packed with kids was no obstacle for this hero. We'll have that story coming up. And Christmas time nostalgia, a ride on the holiday train. Today, the government reported that the economy grew more rapidly than expected in the third quarter of this year. An annual rate of 4.3%. Consumer spending drove the increase. That was up 3.5%. Higher income Americans are responsible for much of that spending. Many others, however, are struggling just to buy necessities. We asked a woman in the middle of America to share her story of trying to make ends meet.
Hey, Dum Dum. My name's Rachel Gordon. I'm 56 years old. I live in Kansas City, Missouri, and I am part of the sandwich generation, which means I'm taking care of my mom and taking care of my daughter, and I'm sandwiched in the middle. Good deal.
I took my breakfast pills.
In today's economy, I struggle with meeting the financial needs of both of those generations. This talks to her pump and adjusts her insulin. She is a type 1 diabetic.
Okay.
She has essential tremors. She's got some dementia. We are headed to a program for elderly people.
Hello, Miss Mary.
I'll see you later.
Okay.
I work part-time for a company that does leadership trainings.
Hello, everyone.
There are times when it's really hard. My husband works very hard, but we have circumstances that have come up that we didn't expect, and now we're in the middle of a place where I never thought that we would be financially.
I love my students.
My mom was a teacher, and she gave so much to everyone. She should receive everything that she needs at a reasonable cost. I am on my way to pick up my daughter from school. Hi, Bear. Hi, Mom. I'm trying to manage the cost of mom's care and then raising a teenage daughter. Before, we wouldn't have thought anything about going out to eat, but now it's like, do we really need to do that? There's very little wants in our life right now. She's in this group over here. My daughter's a freshman in high school, so she's going to college soon. Just the thought of paying for that, it's very worrisome. Maybe we sell our house and we downsize and we use the extra money to pay for her college.
Good night. Love you.
I hope that people in power start to realize the cost of being in this sandwich generation.
You ready to get your jammies on?
Yeah.
And how it is becoming unaffordable for the average middle class family to do.
Good night, Rachel.
Good night. Love you.
Well, one of the largest Powerball jackpots in U.S. history is up for grabs. That's next. Former U.S. Senator Ben Sasse announced on social media today that he has terminal stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The 53-year-old Republican from Nebraska served in the Senate from 2015 to 2023. He was among a small number of Republicans who broke with the president over his claims of election fraud in 2020. A school resource officer in Granbury, Texas, is being called a hero. Here's Officer Adric Streif pushing a broken-down school bus loaded with kids to safety earlier this month. He said it was just the right thing to do. More of that. An 11-year-old boy and his friends, however, 8 and 12 years old, are accused of stealing a car and going for a joyride in Cleveland. The police say the kids crashed the car during a chase and were captured in a backyard. Officials say the kids told the officers that they learned how to steal the car by watching YouTube videos. And the Powerball jackpot has climbed to $1.7 billion. That's the 4th largest jackpot in U.S. history. The next drawing is tomorrow night, Christmas Eve. The cash value payout is over $780 million before taxes. Up next, 'tis the season for a decked-out holiday train ride. Finally tonight, there is just something about Christmas and trains. They just seem to go together, whether it's model trains circling the tree or the real thing, spreading holiday joy along the rails. Lana Zach climbed aboard in Wisconsin.
In a blaze of lights, the CPKC holiday train rolls into town, transforming this stretch of track into a holiday festival.
It's really joyful. Everyone's having fun.
It's made up of a locomotive and 13 rail cars, including one that reveals a stage.
We were fortunate enough to be part of the CPKC holiday train last year, which was a blast.
Welcome to the holiday train. Train master Peter Boyle welcomed us on board, so it's 98 years old.
Exactly. Best part of my job is when we roll into a little town.
They visited 13 U.S. states and 6 Canadian provinces, making nearly 200 stops over the past month. Along those routes, CPKC collects food and raises money for local food banks.
$26 million and lots of food.
There are people that go hungry, and if we can make sure they have more security, it can make a huge impact.
Meals, music, and joy delivered. Lana Zach, CBS News, Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
What a fun time. Well, that is the CBS Evening News. We thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm Jerika Duncan. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.